a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode of Crema Combat Ready International Mixed Martial Arts. Tonight, we have none other than the hard-hitting strike assassin. That's what I call him, from the NWF, Manila Wrestling Federation. The only one, Fabs. Makis. How you doing, Fab?
Doing great. Hella bummed out at home. Haven't left my house in like a year or so. Only been through like 2 kilometers. This is the farthest I've gone to buy groceries and stuff like that.
Where you live at? Where are you? Where are you? So I mean,
Right
I
now,
know you're in Manila, but where?
my apartment is in Mandaluyong. Yeah, just
Okay.
near Makati, just like a bridge away from Makati.
Okay, all right. So I mean, I've been to Mandaluyong a couple of times. It's fairly crowded. It can get fairly crowded there, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, my street, right? Like the street of my house is in. Right now, there's a construction, so people can't pass by. But before, cars would go through, and a lot of cars would go through because if you go straight to my road, it will lead to the red light district in Makati. Like a lot of people go here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So you've been stuck in the house for a good year now, huh? Well, not in the house, but around your area.
Yeah, haven't left.
Oh, man, that sucks, dude. For real. What? Damn, that's crazy, man. What about your family? How's your family doing?
My family is like my parents are doing way better than than I am because 2019 they just bought a car, right? So they bought a car. So
Okay.
at the start of the quarantine, my mom and my father would just drive around, like joyride. They don't leave the car; they just drive around.
Okay.
So,
Right.
but now I think they still like ride around sometimes. Sometimes they drop by our apartment to pick us up, and that's like the farthest I've gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Damn. Yo, you need to get out for real, brother. You need to get
Yeah.
out for real, no doubt. But yeah, I'm glad you decided to come on to my podcast show, man. Krim, I'm trying to get this thing going, man. I do another podcast show called A&C Podcast Unravel with my buddy Andrew Campbell. You guys can check us out there on Twitter, and also check us out there on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcast, somewhere, wherever it's at. There is all over. Anyway, this podcast, I'm just really focusing on the Philippine wrestlers, and eventually I want to get into some, MMA guys and girls, bare knuckle fighting and all that good stuff. But let's get started, man. Like I asked everyone else, how did you get started in pro wrestling? How did you get started in pro wrestling, brother?
Oh, my start is, oh God. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. My start with pro wrestling is a bit fucked up because right, like one day I was like going through Facebook and suddenly there's this like suggested video or something of a young Filipino pro wrestling company doing moves, right? And then
Okay.
back then I was a semi-pro stuntman. I was doing stunt
Oh,
work
okay.
for like small movies, for indie movies and commercials. Basically,
No
whoever's
shit.
gonna pay me to do flips for them. So I saw that video and I said,
Okay.
"Damn, I can do better than these fools." So I said, I'll join. I'll join a wrestling company. Which one is out there? Which one out there is willing to take me? So I asked in a Filipino wrestling group, "Hey, who's starting a pro wrestling company? I'm gonna join." MWF swooped in and took me in, and that's how I started. And initially, I just started it because
Oh,
I thought I would do better than most, but now it's become more serious than that. So
right, right, right. What? So your background is what? I mean, you said you were doing flips, and you were doing. I mean, how did you get into doing like acrobatics and all that stuff?
okay, so maybe more than like 10 years ago now, more than 10 years ago. What had
Mhm.
happened was I started this thing called martial arts tricking, right? And
Oh,
martial
word.
arts, there's no there's no school for it. It's just like if you do martial arts at some point in your life and you do like uh show techniques, moves that don't work in a real fight, but they look good in a movie, right?
Okay, all right.
So I started doing that because it's fun, it looks cool, and that's how I started. I still do
Hmm.
it before the pandemic. It's my number one passion, my love. Like people ask me how much I love pro wrestling, and I always say pro wrestling will only be second to martial arts tricking. Is that what gave me the wings to do pro wrestling?
Oh, okay. So that's a real thing, martial arts tricking. I never heard of that before.
Yeah. But you've seen it before. Like if you've
Okay.
seen Captain America,
Yeah.
the guy who does stunt work for a stunt double, who the guy who stunt doubles for Captain America is a tricker. He's actually half Filipino too.
Oh
So
shit.
yeah,
Okay.
but he never visited us. Like we know him, but he never visited us. And a lot of the
Okay.
other action films, most of
Right.
the stuntmen today are triggers. Like uh, John Wick, you know John Wick, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah. The
movie.
movie. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Most of the guys there used to trick when they were younger, but now they're stuntmen.
Okay. And you also have a a comrade right there in MWF, Jarrell.
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah,
does this. She does that too. She's like a stunt woman, right? I mean,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
she does kind of the same thing you're doing. That's good, man. That's some good shit. You know what I mean, I don't come across a lot of people who does that. You know, you and her, you guys are like the only two that I've ever known to do that stuff. You know what I mean? But let me ask the question real quick: would it work in a real fight? Do you think it would work in a real fight?
Oof. Personally, I would say like don't do this thing in a real fight. You'll just end up hurting yourself. Like for real, the moment you
Mm,
jump in concrete and land a kick on someone, like a flying kick. The thing is, in movies when they hit a flying kick, they land safely. And in pro wrestling, if you
right,
land a flying kick, you drop
right.
down to the ground. That's what's gonna happen.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay, all right. That's cool, man. Yeah. So you weren't involved in the PWR like most of the guys were that started in doing the wrestling here in the Philippines back in 2000 what 13 14.
yeah, I was not involved.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
So you
was
came
not
after.
involved.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
I
That's
came
cool.
I came after I think their first year. I saw
Okay.
their videos and teasers and things like that.
Hmm.
And uh, Robin Sane and Rex Lawin were actually the first guys to take me in and say, "Hey, we're planning an adjacent company to PWR. You might want to join us." Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, okay. So when you got to MWF, you didn't really know how to wrestle. You didn't know the mechanics of it pretty much, like ethics and all that. Who
No.
taught you while you were in MWF? Who trained you? Who was it Mr. Lucha, Robin Singh, Rex? Who was it?
I would have to say it was probably Robin Sane. Yeah,
Okay.
probably Robin Sane, the one who taught me like the philosophy. And the thing is, my start, like Robinson and my friendship was very rocky at the start. We used to fight like all the time because I was an athlete, right? I was an athlete, right? So my
Hmm.
mentality coming in was like, oh god, these are all sissies. Like these are all like weak sissies. They shouldn't tell me what to do. They shouldn't tell me do
Really?
this way, do it that way. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
the longer that I stay with Robinson, because he's so passionate, he's like he doesn't listen to your insults. Instead, he thinks, "Why are you thinking like that?"
Right, right.
Right? So
Yes.
he got to me. I remember back then. I told him. I specifically told him this. Fuck your wrestling psychology if you can't even do
Mm,
10 push-ups.
mm, mm.
Right? So
Okay.
so
All
the
right.
thing is, he took it seriously. Like he
Mhm.
said, oh, he told me, okay, I'll train hella hard. I'll train hella hard, but you respect wrestling psychology. So I said, okay,
Wow.
okay, let's see that. Let's see. And he did. He taught me pro wrestling, and I taught him how to do flips. And it's
Okay.
because people know him more. People know him as the 450 guy,
Hmm.
and people know him as the guy who strikes. But the thing is, most of the things he can do, I taught him one way or another.
So
Like,
you
and
came
like,
in, yeah, you wind up teaching him the high spots and everything. So that's really funny, man. That's crazy. But it's good. That's good. It worked well. You guys gel together, and everything. And that's a good point you made. I never heard that. Also, don't teach me wrestling psychology if you can't do 10 push-ups, because you're absolutely right, bro. If you can't do 10 push-ups, then you don't even be into wrestling. Period. You know what I mean? So the first time when I went to WCW 96 and tried out for the power plant, bro, if you can't do a push up, you can't squat. I mean, that was like half the battle, because it was like 30 guys trying out. Only 3 guys out of those 4 days, I was one of the three that made it, out of 30 guys. And I'm talking college football players, fighters, other kind of other sports. Man, those guys, man, and it was tough, Babs. It was really tough. And we didn't get in there and lock up. For 4 days, we didn't do nothing. It was just straight, push-ups, sit-ups. You get in there, you run the ropes best way you know how. They didn't teach you how to run the rope. You just run the rope. No bumps, no nothing. They just wanted to see where your heart was and where your physicality was. And that's true. If you can't do a push-ups, man, and you can't do a sit-up, squats, you can't really get me to teach you anything, because how can I teach you to body slam someone and you can't even push your own weight up? You know what I mean?
exactly. And I have a lot of martial artist friends, and whenever we talk, like I've hung out with national team, like martial arts guys from national teams, and it's interesting because what you mentioned, coach, like from 30, you're like the only one who passed, and for like a week,
Mm,
all you do is physical training and seeing how far your heart can go, right? They did
right.
that in national team. Like I've trained with the national team for judo. Those guys are tough bastards. Like when you look at
Mm,
them, they look like military men. And it's funny because many of them are honorably dismissed military guys, and they're
right,
doing
right.
that for judo. And and then when I talk to them, it's like, oh, like for a first day, all we did was rolls and stuff. We never learned how to
Hmm.
throw. We never learned how to like or tangle, just rolling. Or like they
Right.
would tell me, first thing they learn is how to wear the gi, how to wear the uniform, and that's one thing that I've always believed pro wrestling should have, because at its deepest, like at its core, pro wrestling
Hmm.
is ultimately a martial art. So
Right,
and it's
right.
entertainment, yes, but we need to train like martial artists.
Exactly. That is absolutely correct, brother. You really should. When I grew up coming into wrestling, and even when I grew up as a kid, I mean, we as a kid we always would fight, and you know, with your cousins and your friends at school. It was always a battle with something with your fist, and strategizing how you're going to beat this person up or whatever. And so that all got me into being a pro wrestler when I watched it on television, because I saw these guys, man. They were like superheroes to me, and then big villains. And so I felt like, if I could have Bob Backlund or Jimmy Snuka to be like them and come up, and I grow up and be like them, I could beat up some of the guys in my class because that's the old school. I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, so and you fast forward to now, and it's like a lot of guys, and it's not no fault of their own, maybe, and you don't have to have a fight to be a wrestler or be an MMA fighter, but of course, eventually you're going to. But it would help that you would have been a child or a teenager and had at least one fight in your life, at least get punched in the face so you know how it feels. Because when you get into pro wrestling, it's gonna happen. When you get into MMA, it's definitely gonna happen. And don't even think about boxing because that's what it's all about. So, to get into combat sports, like you said, you really have to. A lot of people never nowadays never been in a fight, and it's like it's amazing to me how that's happened
Yeah,
because I
and
grew up.
exactly. And the thing is, coach, like I grew up in the ghettos. I grew up in Batasan,
Mm,
right? That's like everyone knows Tondo.
mhm,
Batasan comes after Tondo. It's like, top two there in the barangays you don't want to be in. And that's my
mhm,
childhood.
mhm.
So as young as I can remember, I've been into like street brawls growing up. 'Cause I have a younger sister, and you have a younger sister. That means you fight for her,
Of
fight for
course.
battles, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been fighting, and the fight mentality, the desire to bring someone down, like to hurt them because you're angry, they did something to
Mhm.
you, they hurt your family, or in my case, they keep stealing my coins because I was playing the arcades and they keep stealing my coins. I would fight with them,
Right,
right?
right.
So that intrinsic desire, I feel like you want to be a pro wrestler, you should have felt that anger to want to beat someone up badly. That's
Hmm.
something that you carry to your performance, that you carry to your pro wrestling.
Right, right. That's true. Exactly. I listened to. I was reading. Alvin. What's his? I forget his last name. The owner of URCC. Um,
Aguilar,
uh,
Alvin Aguilar.
yes, yes, yes. I remember reading his story, man, and how he got into jujitsu and fighting. And he said, man, he used to, he came up in a tough area in Manila, and them jokers used to fight all the time, man. Taft Avenue, I think it was. And every time when I would go to Taft Avenue to train the guys at AOW, I would look around. I'd be like, yeah, this seems like this probably could be a tough ass area, to grow up in. So, but yeah, not everyone needs to be in a fight, but it would kind of help a little bit, if you've been in a scrap at least, once or twice. I used to get in a scrap with my cousins, and then I'll cry at the end of the fighting. Because I know I was going to get my ass whooped by my grandma or my mom, but it's just something that happened. But then as you grow, you get into it. You know what I mean? And so you were trained pretty much by Robin Sane and everything. Who was your first match? Who did you
Robinson
wrestle in
was
your first match?
my
Oh, yeah.
Robinson
Okay,
was my
good.
first match. Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
funny thing is, my first match was Robinson and our championship match. We really did not intend. It's just like we never planned any of those matches. It was just born out of like, dude, let's just feel this out. And it's interesting how similar those two matches are. I mean, granted, it's by the same people, but those two matches were very similar. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Damn, that's crazy, man. First of all, I give a shout out. I give a shout out to some of these people, man, up here. Got Ace Victor up here. Got Ken Cipher. I got Dan Mark. And I got my homie, my brother, Angel Medina from the Baldies ECW, the legend. He's doing his podcast now. So yeah, I just want to say hello to everyone that I see. I got Sexy Liz, John, Monique. I got my auntie. I call her my auntie, uh, Net from way in North Carolina. Everyone's watching. Everyone's watching you. So thank you guys for tuning in to watch
Thank
Fabs
you. Thank
Barkisi,
you.
do his thing. And that's a good thing. But yeah, when I first came to one of your shows, you guys showed MWF, Manila Wrestling Federation, at MCS. I saw a couple of matches, right? I saw a couple of matches, and I was like, okay, they need some work. These guys, they really need some work or whatever, and especially in the striking department. you know. But then when I saw Robin Singh, I was like, okay, that's getting better now. You know, he's you know, this guy's he can move around, he's fast, you know, he's good, you know. I hadn't seen Rex. I think Rex at that time was he was on the main event or something. But you were in the middle of the card, and I remember you. I don't know who you wrestled, but I specifically remember you coming out. You had on long tights, they were multicolored, and when you got in the ring, dude, and you started striking this dude, and I said, "Oh shit!" I said, "Dude, what did this guy do to him?" You know, because to me, the way you were striking was how it was when I wrestled and how we wrestled in the States. And I was like, okay, either this dude is shooting him, teaching him a lesson, or this guy is really fucking mad at him for something because he is kicking this guy's ass. And you, I was like, and it was like maybe a couple of guys like you, Robin Singh, I was impressed with, Rex, you know, Big Lucha. And so, but when I saw you, man, you really impressed me like Rex did. But you more so because you were smaller, but you was and you had a good physique, you know, and but your strikes was like on point. I was like, yo, okay. There were some things you could have worked on, of course, you know, working with your basic training and your basic chaining and all that. But when it came down to your kicks, your strikes, I was like, yo, this kid right here, man, who is this guy? You know, and so I was really impressed. I don't know who it was you fucked up, but I want to say it was Ninja, but I'm not sure it was Ninja. I'm not sure. I can't. I really don't know. But all I know is, man, you was kicking some ass for sure. You know what I mean? So, but have you had a chance to go overseas? I mean, like go international?
Ah, God, Ho has been bugging me before the pandemic. Ho has been bugging me to fix my passport, and
Mm.
and I remember once, like he came here, right? He came here, and after training, he came to me all serious. Like that guy normally likes to make people laugh with his sarcasm, but
Okay.
comes to me all serious and like, and he asked me, "Where's your passport?" I said, I don't have it. I don't have it ready yet." Said, "What the fuck? How are you gonna travel? Where's your passport? You need to travel that. You should do that tomorrow." And started telling me, raining on me like an old man.
Right.
Get that soon. I'm like, I don't. Back then, I was working in an
Mm.
office. You know how hellish Philippine traffic is.
Okay.
So I never had the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess that's my biggest
Mm-hmm.
regret. Never had a, but I have been offered. It's just that I cannot. I want to, but I cannot.
Yeah. If a guy like Ho Ho was asking you to go over to get your passport, that means he saw something in you uh, for you that to bring you over.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you know, I tell when I train, it's not about training is also about not just working out in the ring, but it's also about getting your stuff together outside the ring. You know, you got to have your passport together. You got to have a shoot job, meaning you got to have a job to support all your needs, right? Because you need boots, you need to join the gym, you need nutrition, you need to wherever you live. All that stuff takes into account, right? So your personal life has to be on point as well as your professional life in pro wrestling because you can't do one without the other. I don't think you can't do one without the other. You know what I mean? So yeah, you really need to. You're still young. If I was you, you know, I would really try to get my passport straightened out so that when this pandemic thing is over, yo, you can, you know, there's doors opening up now. You know what I mean? And Philippine now has a small name. People are really recognizing you guys, and so that's something you really need to get you know, for sure. You know, and yeah, man, you could definitely be in Hong Kong wrestling. You know what I mean? Singapore, Japan, even America. You know what I mean? So definitely do that, man. But get back to the wrestling in NWF. So who were some of the guys that you like wrestling besides Robin Singh?
That's gotta be Kyle Season. Kyle Season is one guy I enjoy wrestling all the time.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
And the funny thing is, cause I mostly train that guy,
Hmm.
and it's funny because for the longest time he's been doing my moves, right? He's been doing my moves, and I'm like, why the fuck you doing my moves? So I have no moves to do. So like all I, cause he would do my move set, and if I don't go first, his matches go first. So he
Okay.
would do something, and I'm like, fuck, I just thought this guy that move like a month ago. Now he's using it. So he does that. What am I gonna do? Okay, I'll just kick the shit out of this guy again. So,
Right, right. So
but I
he's
love
only
wrestling
one.
him.
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, man. Yeah, I haven't seen or heard from him. I don't know if I even have him on my radar, but I need to get him on my radar for sure.
For
You
sure.
know. Yeah, and
Mhm.
so when you guys were training at MCS, we would also be training at AOW or whatever. I think you actually came over once
Yeah,
and
yeah, I did,
just
I did.
training with me and everything, and then I was like, yo, that kid right there, I want that kid so bad. I want him to join the roster so bad, but he couldn't. But I know you guys couldn't join the roster and all that good stuff. But now have you wrestled for any other promotion here, like, or just MWF?
Just MWF. I don't exactly have the friendliest reputation, so other companies don't really like to associate with me. Although World Underground Wrestling, I'm
Yes,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
cool with those guys. Like I love them. I like
yeah.
keeping tabs
Their
on
style.
the company.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe after the pandemic, you can go. You can do something with them guys and everything.
yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
that'd be nice to see you over there, man, for sure. And everything. What does Fab have like? What's the question I need? What's the question I'm asking? What do you have that you could like share with some of the young wrestlers in the Philippine area? You know what I mean? I mean, what is your besides your striking? What is your thing that you could help them out with?
Okay, so here's the thing, and this is really what where my notoriety, my infamy began. For the longest time, I've been training fitness since 2010, 11.
Hmm.
So basically, for the most part of 10 years, and for a good year or so, I even took in a job as a fitness coach.
Okay.
Right? I had a job in a fitness gym in Makati and BGC.
All
But
right.
yeah, but fitness gym culture is not for me. So I left. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think what I can bring and what I really try to preach is the emphasis on training and conditioning. When I
Okay.
see new guys join pro wrestling, and then they're eager to perform, eager to do
Mm-hmm.
this move or that move. I like to tell them like, if you think you fit, you're not fit enough because pro wrestling
Mm.
is not within the normal idea of what's fit or not. When you do this, you have to be almost like a superhero because you have to be
Right.
fit enough to survive actual damage. Because people say this shit is fake, and I always reply, I wish it is. I wish
Right.
it is. So it don't
Exactly.
hurt. So it don't hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and we get damaged. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way to minimize that damage is by training your body and doing things right. So
Exactly.
what I really want to teach is condition training. That's what's important for me.
Okay. What is your take on catch wrestling and
Oh,
pancreas
I
wrestling?
I love that. I love that thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the funny thing is, you mentioned before, like you mentioned a while ago, that the first match you saw of me, I did a lot of kicks, and my
Hmm.
wrestling needed work, and I knew that. I knew my wrestling
Hmm.
needed work, so I said I'm gonna minimize my wrestling and do what I'm good at, which is
Okay. Yeah.
you know, beating,
Exactly.
beating the
Exactly.
piss out of people. So during
Right.
that time, I was also training with Kyle Season, and And all we did back then, the only thing that we did was do shoot,
Mhm.
like shoot all the time to know what it feels like to want to submit someone. So like after a year, I became okay. I think my wrestling is presentable enough. I'll inject a bit more wrestling in my style. But yeah, I love
Mhm.
shoot wrestling. I love catch wrestling, and it's integral to my personal training and how I train with others.
Okay. Nice, nice. Now you're training. You're pretty much a trainer at MWF. Are you training people a little bit while you are you implementing that into your training a little bit and they don't know it or
Uh, well, I because pro wrestling is young, so while I wanted to
right,
like focus on catch style wrestling and shoot style wrestling, I've been
right.
like experimenting. So basically, batch 2018, that's Nigel San Jose's batch. Uh, that batch has a lot of focus on shoot techniques, on catch techniques.
Hmm.
So they can actually go, and it makes me proud. It makes me happy that Nigel's first match, and actually every time Nigel wrestles, people thinks he has amateur wrestling background. People thinks
Yeah,
he
he's
has
really good. Yeah.
yeah.
Big ups,
So
Nigel. What's happening, brother? Yeah.
so for me, as somebody who taught him something like, okay, I can take pride in that. He looks convincing. He looks
Hmm.
like an athlete. So that's because his batch, that's all like we focused on. We focused on ground tech, on wrestling. Batch
Okay.
19, because Robin Sane told me that he had to like rest a bit from pro wrestling because he has a kid and he had a kid
Right.
coming. So I trained them
Right.
as replacement for Robin Sane.
Okay.
So I
All
taught them
right.
all the high spots. They can still shoot, but they're
Mhm.
mostly the high spots guys. So I do integrate shoot and catch to my to their training, but honestly I wish I can do more
Right.
because nothing makes me feel worse than someone put in a hammer lock not knowing it can break someone's shoulder.
Exactly. Exactly. That's true. And that's the thing with pro wrestling. A lot of people just go through the motion, especially when they're attempting to do chain wrestling, but they don't put the real uh, tension on a whole, so that you can see that if I don't want to let you go, I don't really have to let you go. Wrestling is all about bumping, feeding, and feeding. You know what I mean? Especially
Yeah,
in chain wrestling. I got to give you something where you can get out of. I don't want to expose the business, but that's what chain wrestling is. It's not like MMA where I got to put you in something and submit you. So, you know, uh, but you don't do the moves where, like you said, I'm gonna give you a hammerlock, and you're like this far apart from each other. You have to be right in. You have to be snug, and it's a game. It's a real fight. You know what I mean? And it's just that we know who's gonna win on the outcome. You know what I mean? And the thing is, what you call in the back and what you were calling doesn't mean that I can't cut you off. It does
yeah,
not mean I can cut you off at any time. It's your idea. It's your problem, or it's your thoughts to try to get out of it, or try to come back and say, okay, he outsmarted me on this. And that's sometimes that's the beauty of it, And you can mess with people's mind. You can fuck with them a little bit. You know what I mean? And you know, you tell them to go for a sunset flip, they go down. You hook up DDT. They're like, oh, what happened? So it's things like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I noticed that you like the pancreas type fighting, catch weight. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So, what is the difference between the two? Do you know the difference between the pancreas and catch fighting? Because I really don't.
okay, so basically pancreas style has a lot of Olympic and amateur style wrestling integrated into it. For example, I think you're very familiar with the shoot single leg takedown,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In pure catch wrestling, there is no such thing as a shoot single leg.
Okay.
because if you shoot single leg someone, it's easy to pick up a guillotine or a chicken wing off of that.
Okay.
Uh, Catch wrestling is, I think, it's closest to folk style wrestling right now. That's
Okay.
what it's closest to, folk style wrestling. So feel like if we want like a real catch wrestling today, it's gonna be hella boring because we won't be seeing good takedowns. It's gonna
Right.
be slow and emphasis on pinning someone. Pinning is very important in catch wrestling, but pinning
Okay.
is non-existent in shoot wrestling.
Right.
Shoot wrestling is basically very offensive freestyle wrestling with
Hmm.
submissions thrown in the mix.
Yeah, because
That's
they're trying to tap you out.
basically
They're trying to make you submit. They're not
yeah,
trying to pin you down, going for the 1-2 or whatever. They're really trying to take you out and shoot. When we were coming up, when I was coming up in wrestling, shoot wrestling is straight out. I'm gonna take you into something, get you into something. I'm gonna break your arm, break your ankle, pop your knees. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's a shoot. If I'm gonna hit you in the face, it's gonna be with my knuckles. It's not gonna be. And they used to do that. In certain territories in wrestling. And if you had a problem, if I had a problem with you, I'm the promoter. Chili was the promoter, and he had a problem with Fabs. I would tell Robin saying, "Hey, okay, go in there. It's supposed to be a 6-minute match, but go in there and shoot. Take out his knees. Because he didn't do what I told him to do or whatever. And so things like that happen. But yeah, I knew you like that. I know you like that catch wrestling and pancreas style wrestling. That's why I kind of like the WUW style. I think they're leaning towards that, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. I think they're like they're in the Josh Barnett Bloodsport. Have you seen that?
yeah.
Have you
I
seen that
have.
online?
I've seen
Yeah,
yeah, I've seen the few Bloodsport, and I saw the last one too.
yeah. They're not using the ropes. It's just straight. And and that's kind of good. It's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I don't. It takes a lot out of it when it comes to that. You really have to know how to chain wrestle
Yeah,
and the whole nine.
basically,
And go ahead.
basically, it as a pro wrestler and as a pro wrestling fan, it forces you to sit down and ask the question, what if this really was a fight?
Right.
And I think that's the
Right.
closest we can get, and that's what I
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's another thing. I say this all the time. I said this last week to Robin. I said when I'm training guys or training girls, the, the thing is you want to train them so that if they are walking down the street, they can handle themselves.
Yeah,
Not just it's just not doing an arm drag. And of course, you're not going to do a clean arm drag in the street. You don't want to do that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You do not want to be on the ground when you're in the streets. But the thing is, you can lock up with someone in the street so that they don't hurt you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But you can somehow get it to where you can maybe submit them or something, or make them know, hey, you messed up. You know what I mean? Your strikes have to be spot on. You know how to use that forearm in the real world. You can know how to use that forearm. You know, and split somebody's eye wide open. You know what I mean? And
yeah. You
so
know, just especially that form, coach. I remember, I think it was you. You told me to be careful with it.
hmm
Yeah, yeah, it was you. You told me to be careful with it, and like I was like, I said, okay, okay, I'll be careful with it. And then like a week after, I saw somebody's cheekbones got cut
right.
open from an elbow
hmm
strike, because the guy who
Yeah.
defended, he moved his head backwards, so instead of getting hit flush, the point of the elbow cut
Mm,
through his cheekbones. It was an MMA
yes.
match, so it's pretty cool at the time. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
if we
that's the
make
thing in
that
wrestling.
mistake,
That's the thing in wrestling. You got to be careful in the sense that this stuff can work. It works. It can work. Really, I can really bust you open with a forearm or elbow. You know what I mean? A hammer lock. A wrist lock. You know what I mean? That's real stuff. That's real jujitsu shit. You know what I mean? So And if I'm not mistaken, I think the real jujitsu, the first was in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
that all transitioned, into pro wrestling, and it's like, in wrestling, you really got to be careful with how you strike someone. Make sure their head is tilted back. If they're bending down, make sure you hit them square in the back, not on the back of the neck. If you're kicking, you're not kicking to the joints. Things like that. But a lot of sometimes people don't understand that and everything. But let's get to the Tajiri fight, man. How did
Yeah.
it? How did it happen that you were the one to take on Tajiri?
Honestly, they told me that first they wanted to the management was discussing it. First they thought about giving it to Lucha, but they thought
Mhm.
that I would be a better fit. So they just decided like, hey, Fabio Makisig would benefit the most from the Tajiri rub. Let's give it to him. So yeah, basically that's it. They wanted me and Tajiri in a program. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's how it happened.
Ah,
I think
okay, nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was a hell of a match, bro. I'm telling you, that was I don't know what happened. I don't know if we're still live. I hope we're still live. But
I
wait,
think
let
we
me
still
make sure because I
have.
see something. Are we still live there? Stop. I think we're still live, but I'm
Yeah,
looking on my Facebook. It says 4050. Hold on.
yeah.
I didn't put no time limit on this thing, so folks, if you're there, can someone let us know if we're still live? Let us know if we're still live.
I think we
But
still
anyway,
live. Yeah, yeah.
okay,
I
we're
have
gonna
it.
keep, we're gonna
I have it.
okay, we're gonna keep going. But anyway,
Yeah,
so the
Sunny
match
Side
with
versus
Tajiri,
Live. Yeah.
the match with Tajiri. So how did you call that with him? Because like
Ooh.
how does the language barrier how does that work?
Okay. So here's the thing, and this is something like not a lot of people maybe know about me is since 2013, 2014, I've been teaching English. I'm an
Okay.
English teacher by trade, right?
Oh,
Most,
really? Okay.
yeah, and then most of the, and I've taught Japanese people mostly.
Ah, I didn't know that.
So, so I can't exactly speak Japanese, but I
Hmm.
understand their accent very much, and
Okay.
I'm used to the accent, and I can understand a little bit of Japanese. So Tajiri would speak English with me, speak. Actually, he speaks pretty decent English.
Yes. Yeah. He's pretty good. He's good.
So we talked, and yeah, and it's funny because he would mutter in Japanese,
Hmm.
right? Like he would say, "Oh no, oh wow." He would react in Japanese, and like I know what he's talking about. And I think
Okay.
at some point I reacted to him speaking in Japanese, and he just laughed at me. But when we made that match, really, I we didn't really plan it that much. The thing is, right before we went out, he asked me, "What can you do?" Oh, here's what I can do. I said, okay, so let's do this for the finish. Then we
Stop
went
right
out
there.
and did it.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Now, to those of the viewers out there watching and will be watching, if you're a young wrestler and you're coming up and you're going to go up against a veteran will ask you that question. You
Yeah,
never go to a veteran and say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." You didn't go to the jury and say, "This is what I'm going to do." He asked you and said,
yeah,
"What can you do?"
yeah.
And if you're a young wrestler, you don't get up and say, "Well, I could do 450," even though you may can do it. But most veteran wrestlers don't want to. They don't want to catch your ass. They don't want to. They don't want to bump for you. They want to do simple shit. They want you to sell for them, bump and feed. All right. So go ahead. I had to throw that out.
It's funny, Coach. It's a good thing you mentioned that because when I say literally before we went out, we've been talking for like the whole afternoon about random stuff like how's the Philippines, what he's been eating, what place are we in? Because he's so fascinated by
Mhm.
the by
Yeah.
that all. Right? And all throughout, I was nervous. I wanted to ask, like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? But I never did because I was too hella nervous and I was too hella scared.
Right, right.
And we were like 15 minutes away from our match. And just before we went out, that's when he pulled me aside. I'm like, oh my God, how will I
Yeah,
remember this? How will I
yes.
do it? And here's a funny thing, right? So we went out the tent, we went out backstage, and then he pulled me back a bit, and then he asked me what I can do and what he wanted to do. But when we went out, he pulled me back in again and said, "Okay, so what else can you do?" Like I said, "Well, what
Mhm.
do you?" He said, high spot. I said I had this dumb look because back at
Right.
that time, like I don't know my moves anymore because I was hella nervous.
Mm.
I don't know my moves anymore. But I can moonsault any time of the day. I can moonsault
Right,
any time of the day. So
right.
by instinct, I just said, I can moonsault. And the funny thing is, I rarely do moonsaults. People remember me
Right,
for doing moonsaults because moonsaults are rare here, but I never do
right.
moonsaults. So so I said, I can moonsault. And then he said, let's see. He said, let's see.
Mm.
Right? So do I do it or not? In the middle of the match, we're doing it. We're doing the match, and I thought at the start, like, I thought he gave me a real good one. I think it was a shoulder bump, a real good one, rattled me. That shook me awake. Like, oh yeah, I'm fighting. I'm here. So we do the thing, and then I do it, and then he whispers moonsault. I'm like, whoa, for
Mm.
real? For real? You
Yeah.
let me do it? So I did it, and then when I and the thing is, we were talking all throughout the match. We were talking, right? And I did the moonsault, and then he said, "Well, I was doing it." He said, "Oh no."
He changed his mind.
Yeah, but when I landed, right? When I landed, he said, "Oh, okay, good job." For the next split second, he was hella nervous. He was hella
Yeah.
nervous.
But that's it, that's a big thing, man. That's a huge thing when you wrestle or you're gonna compete against a veteran and you're young and you're green. Even someone like me who's been in business 20 years, if I'm working Tajiri, I'm gonna, he's gonna say, "Hey, Chili, what do you want to do?" I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna bump and feed for you because he's still been in the business longer than me, and so I have to respect that. If you're one of these young guys that's coming out and thinking you're shit, you're hot shit, and you just go, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." Yeah, a guy like Tajiri's gonna hurt you for real. He's going to go out there and he's gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand that. They just want to get their stuff in. They want to get their moves in. And the thing is, when you're dealing with a veteran, you can't do that. You can't. You have to give them respect because first of all, the age and the time and they don't want to do a lot of stuff. It hurts. This stuff hurts. They can't do what they did 20 years ago. And second of all, you got to show them respect. Just like you're going to get respect the next 10, 20 years, someone's going to say, "Hey, I'm wrestling Fabs. I'm wrestling. Oh my God, I'm wrestling Fabs. Oh, wow. And so you're going to be that veteran. But that's good, man. I'm glad you experienced that. I knew and I saw the emotion on you that night after your match.
Ah,
And
yeah.
you guys did like a 5-star match, man. You guys lit
Thank
the
you.
house on fire that night. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And I watched that match, and I said your timing was good. It's not about the moves that you did because you didn't do a lot. You didn't do a whole lot, but you were there. Your timing was there for him, and it made sense. And that's the whole part. You don't have to do a lot, man. You just I say it again, bump and feed, bump and
And
feed.
and I always like, and I always tell this because every time like we're together, like every time I'm with Coach Chili, and I think you see it. Like I try to draw as much information as I can from you because you're our bridge. I
Right.
remember you, and this was when you would visit us randomly in
Yeah.
Tarik's house, and you told me offhand. I don't know what topic that was, but you just told me like when you fight a veteran, you just gotta bump for them. And you told me
Mm-hmm.
it was easy because all you got to do is pump for them. So I remember,
Mm-hmm.
right, when Tajiri asked me, what can you do? I remember, and I have to say this, and I have to say this. I was really proud when he asked me, what can you do? And I said, I'm pretty good at pumping.
Good.
I told him that, but I thought that's gonna elicit a response, but he had this blank face, like he was waiting for my move. So I'm like, okay,
Right. Right.
you don't care about that.
Right.
Okay, I
Yes, you
thought
have to play it safe. Yeah.
I thought I'm gonna look cool or something, but he wanted to know what I can do. But I think
Right.
with that match, because really I did. Here's the thing. When you're a pro wrestler, when you're on a show, you have to give this image that you're super confident, you're not worried, no
Right.
insecurity. But ultimately, we're human going in that match. The moment I heard that I'm gonna fight the Jiri, I was like hella doubting myself. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and leading up to the Jiri fight, I was training hella hard to look like $1 million out there. I was training my
Right.
body. I was training my kicks, but I was really, really worried
Mm-hmm.
leading into that match because I know that, and this is, I'm like gonna generalize. I know that the Philippine wrestling scene, MWF, PWR, Woo, even AOW, we are not at a level to do something like this yet.
Right.
But
Right.
but that don't mean we shouldn't try. As a matter of fact, we should
Exactly.
try because we
More.
need to push. Yeah, we need to push it more. We need to push the community
Yes.
forward. So going into that match, I said I'm representing the Philippine wrestling scene because
Mhm.
the Tajiri fans from Japan, from Mexico would see that match, and their
Right.
impression of the Philippine wrestling scene will rest on me. So
Thank you.
so I said I better not fuck it up. So after that match, I felt like I could have done
Hmm.
more. I felt like
Right.
could have I was offbeat a few times, and that's the thing,
Hmm.
like you're offbeat a few times and it's easy to get lost. I was really
Right.
afraid of that, but Tajiri is an amazing worker. Uh,
Right.
Honestly, straight up, I got lost like halfway through the first part, so he just calls it for me. That's why we were
Yeah.
talking things out. And
Yeah.
I want to be at that level, just calling it. I want to be at that
Right.
level. So
Right.
after that, I was really emotional. And then I remember, here's the thing, I remember, okay, these emotions are real. I better put it to good use. So while I was
Hmm.
really emotional, I did a promo, and that was very interesting. Is that promo garnered a lot of online attention
Mm.
that it brought new fans to MWF. So that was weakness on my part. I was crying. The pressure of fighting Tajiri really
Right.
got to me. But even that, I wanted to juice that emotion, juice that moment to get more people to watch this because ultimately that's my goal. I don't want to be
Yeah.
like the best Filipino pro wrestler. I want to be the Filipino pro wrestler who made this shit famous.
Right. 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 You did a good job, and thank Big Tariq, brother T, for bringing in Tajiri and having great shows. But the thing about it is, uh, and I said this when I first came to the Philippines. You guys are going to be wrestling veterans coming in. There's going to be a lot of people coming in internationally, and you know, it, and from what I've seen for the past 5 years, man, the whole Filipino wrestling scene has progressed very well. You know what I mean? From that big show that I saw at PWR till now, where you guys are wrestling guys like Tajiri, JDL's wrestling guys like TJP and Chris Panzer, Jeff Cobbs, and WUW guys, wrestling guys coming in from internationally. So, that's the thing. You have to progress. You know what I mean? In order to keep the Philippine wrestling alive, it's not just about one company,
Yeah,
doing this and doing that. As much as people want to hype themselves up and try to gripe on that shit, because when guys like me coming from an international world, America, when we coming to the Philippines, we're looking at wrestling. Period. We're not looking at who's the best company per se. Not at the point, not at the first beginning, but we want to see what you guys have and who you guys have. And so the thing is, make if you're making your company the best that it could be, and they're making theirs the best that they could be, then all you guys make everything great. You know, you make the Philippine wrestling great. You know, and that was good shit. You know, I want to give a big shout out to my man, to my fam. I call him Trail. We call him Trail, but his name is Coley. Our Trail Coley. He's over there in Dubai. Sonny Go. CJ Reyes. He's he done chimed in. Martin's always chiming in. Thanks, Martin, for coming in, brother. And CJ says, "What a teaser for the Tajiri story." So, but yeah, man, that was good shit. Where you at? You still with me?
Yeah, I'm still here. Just got like disconnected for like a second.
I lost him, folks. I think I lost.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Coach?
Okay, I got you now, brother.
Okay.
I got you. Yeah. So yeah, but like I was saying, that was
good.
I got you. Can you hear me? Hello? I think we lost. Can you hear me? Fabs.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. I saw you cleaning up your screen there.
Oh God, what's happening?
You freezing up?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm here. Maybe you're freezing up. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I don't have too many more questions. I was just that was a good match you guys had and everything. So you know, I hope that in the future, you know, when this stuff is over, more people can come over, and you guys can work them into everything and get some good experience, because that's what it's all about, you know, getting that good experience and everything. So, what's in the future for Fabs, man?
Really, what I want right now is, for one, I want to focus on training the people more, training the new wrestlers, and one thing that I want to do is I want to put in the work on the business side of things, because my ultimate goal is to turn this into a profitable industry enough that the best pro wrestlers locally can live off of it, can be a full-time job. So right now my goal is helping management and creating with business plans to make this a feasible job. And for that, we need to get famous. We need to be, you know, we need to be known. But part of it is also thinking up of business schemes to make it work, so we can earn more and keep doing this.
Yes. Yeah. That's my goal as well. You know, and I said, you know, the Philippine wrestling scene should also connect with the commission here and be licensed. Yeah. You know, you guys really should be licensed. It's not you shouldn't just be wrestling just to be wrestled. You know, yeah, it might be a little bit corruption in the licensing, because that's in all gaming. There's going to be corruption, even in America. But for the most part of it, wrestling is a new sport in the Philippines, and it's not so new, but it's getting, you know, you should be licensed like MMA, boxing, and things like that. And maybe you guys can all come together, form a committee, govern a committee or whatever, out of all your companies, you know, MWF, WUW, PWR, you know, get a group of guys and women to come together and have a wrestling commission, you know, because you need to be commissioned and you need to be licensed, and that I think that would help and also insured, because what happens if people get hurt, you know, and you can't really go to the hospital? At least you have some insurance, you know.
So I think
I
think my internet is not
okay. We're gonna finish
well.
up. We're gonna wrap this up, because I can't. Your face is frozen, but I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello, fabs. Testing 1 2 1 2. So anyway, folks, we're gonna end this real soon. It's already 7 o'clock. It's been an hour, and plus Fabs his, I think either, well, maybe his computer froze up on us. I'm still live, I think. I hope I'm still live. Dre, what's happening, brother? I hope I'm still live. So we're gonna end this and see if I can get him back to close out. I want to get him back to close out. Don't want to end like this. Hello, you there?
Hello. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. I think there's something wrong with my internet.
That's
Suddenly,
all right, brother.
suddenly
Yeah, I can't see your face, but that's okay. But yeah, we're gonna close this out, man. I really appreciate you coming on. And
thank you very much. Thank you.
yeah, man, you got to get out the house, brother, and do some training. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
hope
mean?
so. I hope so.
Do some walking anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that'll help. But thank you for the time, man. Sorry that your computer went down on you, but anyway, we got enough footage, enough said. The point went across, and it was a great interview, man. I appreciate it. And thank you everyone for listening, watching in, and we'll be back next week with a nice surprise guest. And I'm gonna love this one next week. Hopefully, we're gonna have our MWF referee on, Katrina. And so you guys tune in. Thank you.